argument is that you contradict when you say that he has attributes that are dependent. Do you believe that the attributes are self-existent, or do they depend upon Allah's essence and amongst themselves in a dependence relationship?
Okay, I'll let you respond to this Muslim answer question. 30 seconds to respond.
Yeah, he mentioned something about the color being apart. I mentioned many attributes like love and hate and this and that. So that is a straw man.
Are they dependent? Is it a dependence relationship?
To respond to the dependence or not dependence, we don't use this terminology. Allah doesn't use it, so therefore I don't use it. I believe it's an attribute, and an attribute exists within the creator. We don't use the term dependent or independent to them.
Are they distinct?
What do you mean by this?
And by the way,
suddenly Lantern doesn't know what distinct or depend means. He is using his favorite debate tactic that he used the entire debate, where he asks for a definition or forces you to ask the question in a different way, which actually worked and is why Jay changed to distinct. This way he forces you to change expression to find loopholes in your language or attack it from a different narrative to make a counter-argument against a word that is weaker, that do not express what the original word does. Depend or distinct.
You do use that terminology in debates, because Jake used that terminology in many of his debates.
I'm not Jake. We don't use the term dependent or independent. I'm not Jake.
I know, but you're saying you guys don't use that terminology. He did.
We don't use the term dependent or independent. I'm talking about from an Islamic position, you're not allowed to talk about Allah.
So first he says the argument can't be made because we Muslims don't use that word.
Dependence or not dependence, we don't use this terminology. Allah doesn't use it, so therefore I don't use it. We don't use the term dependent or independent.
And when the Christians proves Muslims do, then he changes to, I personally don't.
You do use that terminology in debates, because Jake used that terminology in many of his debates. I'm not Jake.
But his argument was that it can't be used against him because Muslims don't use it. This way no argument can be used against him. He changes forms like Benton, delusional.
Okay, so in other words, you have a double standard.
What do you mean by dependent?
Notice that he has a double standard to where in his position
what do you mean by dependent?
Lantern is trying to make Jay express the word or question different because he is desperate to find a loophole in his language. But Jay is aware of his debate tactics and doesn't fall for it.
I don't have to answer these questions. I don't know the relationship.
I didn't say that. We don't use the term dependent or independent to them. I didn't say that. I asked you
what you mean by dependent. You said we don't have to answer that.
I asked you what you mean by dependent. I asked you what you mean by dependent.
Are they all
You have to clarify.
Are they all say?
You have to clarify. What do you mean?
Are they all say?
You're not going to define words. How am I going to respond to you? You got to define.
I'm sorry you don't know the terms. Are they self-existent?
What do you mean by self-existent?
Do they exist of themselves? You don't know that word?
They exist within the creator. As I said to you, they exist
with
Allah. They exist with Allah, and there is nothing that exists separate from its attributes. You're making a false argument here by trying to separate the attributes from the creator.
Within your Aqidas debate this, and you know.
I don't know what Aqidah is, but I don't.
You don't know what a school is.
It's called Aqidah, not Aqidah.
Is there any better evidence the Lantern is willfully playing dumb, ignoring every argument and question made against him? He just lied and said he doesn't know what the word meant. 2 seconds later says Jay didn't pronounce the word correctly, which proves he lied just to avoid the argument, even though the pronouncement of a word doesn't change anything. In a real moderated debate, he would have been warned or disqualified.
Like he doesn't. This is what they do. They pretend that they don't know. These are classic debates that they killed each other over. The relationship of like the Mu'tazila, the Mutakalaimam, the Salafi. You all do this. Does Allah have an uncreated foot?
Okay, so you talked about the Mu'tazila. Who were the Mu'tazila? What did they believe? Give me the 4 principles of Mu'tazila, 5 principles of the Mu'tazila.
Ignores the question and changes subject. Lantern asks Jay a knowledge question, which doesn't change Jay's argument or point.
So he's deflecting away because he won't answer these questions.
Who are the Mutakallimun? You just made an argument. You made an argument.
Whether it's the people who believe in the body parts of Allah, or whether it's the Neoplatonist Shia, he won't answer.
You made an argument. The Mu'tazila
they have the same position as the Neoplatonist Shia do.
That's what you said. So present me what did they believe. You don't even know what they believe.
You're not. No, I don't have to define your schools for you.
So you don't know. Then you don't know.
So you don't have it. It doesn't matter the 4 principles when you can't answer the question.
They didn't believe what you believe.
You can't. Notice he won't answer the question of Allah and the attributes of religion because he doesn't know what the word self-existent and Allah means.
You're incorrect about Islamic
theology. What's your position? I don't care about that. What's your position? What's your position?
My position is what the Quran and Sunnah teaches.
Which is what? What's your position? What's your position?
My position is what the Quran and Sunnah teaches. So what question? You gotta give me a question and then I gotta respond to it. So
what is the relationship of Allah to His attributes? Are they say or not?
I responded to you.
No,
every human being
No, you
knows.
didn't. You're deflecting and you're
Every human
collapsing.
being knows the attribute is not separated.
Everyone knows this. No, they
from the
don't. You're
being.
saying that you're
From
saying
the
your
being.
schools don't debate this.
This is the problem. You don't even know what my schools believe. You don't even know.
It doesn't matter
what.
what. It doesn't matter.
You don't
Maybe
even
I don't
know
know
that-
anything. Maybe I don't know
Exactly.
anything. That's a fallacy. That doesn't prove your position.
Sure, you don't know anything.
You're a
that's
fallacy
fallacy.
machine.
All right, thank you very
So
much.
you can't
Okay,
answer
so
this
do you have
basic question, can you? You don't
What
know the
basic
relationship
question?
of Allah to his attributes for the fourth time?
I responded to you. What do you mean by that? The
You
attributes,
deflected.
I told you the attributes of Allah are not something that we say is apart or separated from Allah. We don't believe
Okay.
that. We believe
How does that
every
solve the question?
just like I
So
exist.
are they offset?
Just like you cannot separate my love and hate from me.
But those are parts of you.
Allah, sorry. These are not parts. These are attributes. That's ridiculous.
I thought he's
It's not
nothing
part.
like creatures.
A part is something.
I thought
Again,
he's
you
nothing
see,
like
you
creatures.
said it's a part, so it shows that you are saying attributes are part, and
You
lied
said the
before you
parts,
said it's not.
doofus.
No,
You
did
can't
that.
understand that I'm putting
And now
you
you're
into a
insulting
pencil
like
bind?
a kid, like a child. You're just exposing your ignorance. Attributes are not parts. Human beings have attributes. You
That's
cannot
your
separate
position.
hate. You cannot separate hate and
You
love from an individual.
contradicted yourself
And-
when you
and the
compared it
problem you
to
do-
parts of your shirt.
The problem
dude.
you're doing that is because
your
you know
shirt
the
have
Trinity.
parts?
Because you know the
Does your
Trinity is
shirt have parts?
polytheism. You know the Trinity is that
And
there
now
are
I go back
three
to the Dawah
who
script.
have
Now let me go back to the Dawah script.
who have
Independent
independent minds,
you have 99
independent
gods.
existences, independent wells. They're separate from one
Oh, so
another.
now
and
you
you're
know
trying
the
to
word
compare
Ase.
that.
Now you
and
know
you're
what
trying
Ase
to compare
means.
that, and
So
you're
this
trying
guy's
to
a
compare
snake. Look,
that.
he knows what the word
And
Ase
you-
means. He
and
pretended
you-
like he didn't know earlier. Because
And
now
you're
he
trying to
says the
compare that
Trinity
to
is.
attributes because you have
They're
a
not
problem with
independent.
polytheism.
We don't
you have
believe in
Jesus
independent.
worshiping. When you have Jesus worshiping,
They're
God,
not
bowing
independent.
down-
That's not our
Bowing
position.
down and prostrating to Him. That's not an attribute of an individual.
You don't even
When
know what I
when
already
have
refuted this
when you
when I
have the
gave you my
Father
article for
commanding the
Trinitarianism.
Holy Spirit, we have the Son commanding the Holy Spirit. That's
All
not
he
an
does,
attribute.
that's
of another
monarchical
individual.
Trinitarianism. That's
So,
the position I gave you at the
clearly
outset.
losing it and acting like a child, and I think you gotta relax.
No,
a little
because
bit.
you're
Stop
saying
losing
this
it.
because you literally didn't answer any of the questions I asked you about the attributes. You said
I
parts
did.
like shirts. Shirts have parts, dude.
I didn't
That's
say
your
shirts.
analogy.
I said black. Yeah, I think you're deaf. You cannot
That's
hear.
part
I
of your.
said
You
black.
don't think shirt. You don't. So blackness is
Black.
not part of your shirt.
Show me the existence of black. Where is that?
Bruh.